Hello and welcome to everyone present here. As you know that we have been discussing the chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe, and a very important topic was under discussion, the age of revolution in Europe. यूरोप में क्रांतियों का युग. The time period of revolutions in Europe is generally considered in between 1830 to 1848. And in this time period, four major events took place. First of all, there was the revolution in France, the July Revolution of 1830, in which the Bourbon dynasty was replaced by the constitutional monarchy and Louis Philippe became its head. Then there was the Greek War of Independence, which had started in 1821 and ended in 1832, being recognized Greek as an independent nation from the Ottoman Empire through the Treaty of Constantinople. Then there was a new economic scenario in the Europe, and it was the era of hunger and hardship, which also caused some revolts and revolution. Due to rising population, widespread unemployment, stiff competition from the machine-made goods coming from England, the peasants were under the burden of feudal dues and obligation. There was high prices of the foods, and there was also crop failures. All this combined economic situation caused few revolts, and it was the Frankfurt Parliament in Germany. But prior to Frankfurt Parliament, a revolution had taken place in France once again, and due to widespread unemployment and rising prices of food items, the people came on the streets of Paris in France, and Louis Philippe had to abdicate the throne, and France was declared a republic. And all the men above the age of 21 were given rights to vote. Then the middle class society in Germany had a high aspiration of liberal nationalist ideology, and they were comprised of middle class educated society, businessmen, professionals. They all voted for a all national German assembly, and 831 representatives were chosen, and they marched in a festive manner to the Frankfurt Parliament, which was convened in the St. Paul Church on 18th May 1848. But their efforts to make a constitutional monarchy in Germany governed by a parliament was diminished by the king of Prussia. The monarchy took support of the army and the aristocracy and the Junkers, and lastly the parliament was dissolved. So the first attempt to unification of different confederation of the Germany into a nation state by the middle class nationalist, liberal nationalist was met with failure, because they had lost the support of aristocracy as well as the lower class people like artisans and peasants. Now it is time to study about the unification of Germany. So what does it mean, and how the unification of Germany was concluded? Let us discuss it. But prior to discuss this topic, we should have a very close look on a new trend in Europe. Earlier, the nation building or the nation state establishment process was led by the liberal nationalist people, and that nationalism feeling was associated with the democracy, equality to everyone. But after 1848, the nationalism idea took its path away from its association with democracy and revolutions. Now, the conservative governments, the monarchy started to make banking upon the ideas of nationalism in their own favor to improve their power and dominance. 1848 के पहले जो राष्ट्रवाद की विचारधारा थी वो क्रांति और रिवॉल्यूशन से, मतलब क्रांति और प्रजातंत्र से जुड़ी हुई थी, और मध्यम वर्ग के शिक्षित लोगों के द्वारा क्रांतियाँ लाई जाती थी। लेकिन 1848 के बाद जो ये राष्ट्रवाद की विचारधारा थी, अब इसका उपयोग राजतंत्र अपने फायदे के लिए करने लगा और अपनी शक्ति और अपना प्रभाव बढ़ाने के लिए करने लगा, और राजतंत्र ने ही यूनिफिकेशन का बीड़ा अपने ऊपर ले लिया। इसीलिए इस टॉपिक की शुरुआत भी होती है, कैन द आर्मी बी द आर्किटेक्ट ऑफ अ नेशन? क्या आर्मी और मोनार्की भी नेशन का निर्माण कर सकता है? हाँ, कर सकता है। और यही बात हुई जर्मनी और इटली में। इन दोनों का यूनिफिकेशन जो हुआ वो मोनार्की और मतलब वहाँ के मंत्री के सहयोग से हुआ, आर्मी के सहयोग से हुआ। सो हाउ डिड ऑल दिस हैपन? लेट अस डिस्कस इट। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, the efforts of German unification in 1848 by the middle class German nationalist people was met with a failure due to the suppression by the monarchy, military and junkers. Junkers are called the large landlords in Germany. तो जर्मनी का यूनिफिकेशन का पहला प्रयास मध्यम वर्गीय राष्ट्रवादी विचार से जुड़े हुए मध्यम शिक्षित वर्ग के लोगों के द्वारा जो था वो असफल रहा था, क्योंकि मोनार्की ने और सेना ने और जंकर्स ने मिलकर उनके इस प्रयास को विफल कर दिया था, जिसको हम फ्रैंकफर्ट पार्लियामेंट के नाम से जानते हैं। आफ्टर द फेलर ऑफ द जर्मन नेशनल असेंबली, पर्शियन चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑटोमन बिस्मार्क टेक्स द लीड इन द जर्मन यूनिफिकेशन. So after the failure of first attempt to unifying Germany by middle class nationalist liberalist people in 1848, which is known as the Frankfurt Parliament, the Prussia came forward and it played a major role in unification of the German unification. The Prussian army and the bureaucracy helped the chief minister Ottoman Bismarck in the unification of Germany. So, Ottoman Bismarck planned the unification with the help of the Prussian army and the bureaucracy. He conducted 3 wars with France, Austria and Denmark over 7 years and thus ensuing the German unification. तो ऑटोमन बिस्मार्क चीफ मिनिस्टर जो थे, उनके नेतृत्व में 7 साल के अंदर 3 लड़ाइयाँ हुई फ्रांस, ऑस्ट्रिया और डेनमार्क के विरुद्ध में, और अंततः जर्मन का यूनिफिकेशन हुआ जो कि 39 कॉन्फेडरेशन में बटा हुआ था. द प्रोसेस वाज कंप्लीटेड विद द क्रॉनिंग ऑफ काइजर विलियम फर्स्ट एज द किंग ऑफ जर्मनी. सो on 18th January 1871, an assembly comprising of princes of German states, representative of the army, important Prussian minister, including the chief minister Ottoman Bismarck, gathered in the unheated hall of mirrors in the palace of Versailles to proclaim the new German empire headed by Kaiser William I of Prussia. So the nation building process in Germany had demonstrated the dominance of Prussian state power. The new state placed a strong emphasis on modernizing the currency, banking, legal and judicial system in Germany. Prussians' measures and practice often became a model for the rest of the Germany. So here we see that Germany was divided into 39 confederation of states. It was the confederation of 39 states and it was unified by the Prussia and the chief minister Ottoman Bismarck took the help of army and bureaucracy, and the Kaiser William I of Prussia was crowned the first emperor of Germany nation. So here we see that monarchy and the army helped a lot in the unification of Germany. A nation building process was concluded by the help of monarchy and army. Now let us move to the another unification, and it is the unification of Italy. Like Germany, Italy was also scattered over different dynastic states, out of which only Sardia, Piedmont was ruled by the Italian princely states. तो जर्मनी की तरह जो इटली था वो भी विभिन्न तरह के बहुवंशीय साम्राज्यों में बटा हुआ था और केवल सार्डिया पिंडमिंट जो राज्य था वहीं पर इटालियन प्रिंसली स्टेट का शासन चलता था। इटली बोलने वाले का मतलब शासक का वहाँ शासन था। इट वॉज डिवाइडेड इंटू 7 स्टेट्स। इटली जो था 7 राज्यों में बटा हुआ था। द नॉर्दर्न पार्ट वॉज रूल्ड बाय द हैब्सबर्ग एम्पायर ऑफ ऑस्ट्रिया, द साउथ वॉज रूल्ड बाय द बर्बन किंग ऑफ स्पेन एंड द सेंटर वॉज रूल्ड बाय द पोप और रोम, पोप ऑफ द रोम. So the first attempt for unification of Italy was taken up by the revolutionaries, and we already know about him. He was Giuseppe Mazzini. Giuseppe Mazzini had planned and he had a detailed plan to the unification of Italy. He used to say that Italy cannot be the patchwork of different states. It should be unified in one, and the God has intended the nation state as the natural boundary for the citizen. So he had also made a secret society, Young Italy, and he had tried in 1831 and 1841 to the unification of Italy, but it could not get success. So he had put out a coherent program for the unification of Italy, and he founded the secret society like the Young Italy and Young Europe, and planned out various strategies to unify Italy. But after his failure, the unification of Italy rested on the soldier of the Sardia Piedmont, and King of Sardia Piedmont and the Chief Minister Cavour took a leading role in the unification of Italy. Chief Minister Cavour of Sardia Piedmont was neither a Democrat nor a revolutionary, but he had a great contribution to the unification of Italy. For the elite of the Italian ruling class, the unification of Italy will provide them much dominance and increase their political power. So that is why these kings were intended to make unification. Monarchy would have not thought to unification of nation building process, but we have already studied that since 1848 the nationalism feeling and sentiment was used by the monarchy in their own favor, because they saw the unification process and national building as the chance to increase their political dominance and increase their पावर. तो राजतंत्र ने अपनी आधिपत्य और अपना प्रभाव और अपनी शक्ति बढ़ाने के लिए ये यूनिफिकेशन किया था. जो काम नेशन बिल्डिंग या नेशन स्टेट बिल्डिंग का काम लिबरल नेशनलिस्ट या मिडिल क्लास एजुकेटेड सोसाइटी के द्वारा शुरू किया गया था, और जो डेमोक्रेसी से और क्रांतियों से संबंधित था, अब उसका रूप चेंज हो चुका था. इसीलिए जर्मनी और इटली का यूनिफिकेशन मोनार्की के नेतृत्व में हुआ. सो आफ्टर द फेलियर ऑफ द Giuseppe Mazzini attempt to unify the Italy, the chief minister of Sardia Piedmont, Cavour, played a major role. By a tactful alliance with France, he became successful in defeating the Austria forces in 1859. तो फ्रांस से वो एक कूटनीति चाल के तहत मतलब दोस्ती करके कावूर ने 1859 में ऑस्ट्रियन फोर्सेस को हरा दिया. But apart from regular army, there was participation of large number of armed volunteers under the leadership of Giuseppe Garibaldi, who joined the process in 1860. The armed volunteer entered in southern Italy under the leadership of Giuseppe Garibaldi and the kingdom of Two Sicilies, and was won there, and it was annexed in the Italy, but it had also got the support of local peasant there. In 1861, Victor Emmanuel II was proclaimed the king of United Italy. So we see the role of two major personality, first Chief Minister Cavour and then the role of Giuseppe Garibaldi. Garibaldi also joined the movement with Cavour with the support of the local peasants of Italy and volunteer armed forces troops. He succeeded driving away the Spanish rulers from Italy, and finally the annexation was done. In 1861, Victor Emmanuel II was proclaimed the king of unified Italy. The common person of Italy thought Italia was the wife of Victor Emmanuel. So there was no nationalist feeling like middle class society in Italy, and Italia name was being perceived by the local peasants that it was the name of the wife of Emmanuel, विक्टर इमैनुअल द किंग ऑफ सार्डिया पिटमोन. तो इटली में यूनिफिकेशन का काम मेनली चीफ मिनिस्टर कावूर और गैरिबल्डी की सहायता से हुआ. और वहाँ पर इतनी अशिक्षा थी, इलिटरेसी थी कि जो गैरिबल्डी के नेतृत्व में साउदर्न इटली में जब उसकी वॉलंटियर आर्म ट्रुप्स इंटर्ड की और लोकल पिजन का सपोर्ट मिला और फिर वहाँ से स्पेनिश रूलर को हटा दिया गया, फिर भी लोगों को इटालिया जो इटली का मतलब अब नेशन होने जा रहा था नाम, उसको वो लोग समझते थे कि वो मतलब विक्टर इमैनुअल सेकंड की पत्नी का नाम है. तो in this way we come to know that how did the unification of Germany and Italy was accomplished by the help of monarchy and army and chief minister. And this was the new turn in Europe, where the nationalism which was used to be associated with the revolution and democracy was now away from its original path, and unification process was started to be done by the army and the monarchy because they saw it as a chance to increase their power and dominance. So okay, thank you all of you.